All right, here we are again. So the new trunk is in. This one is 100% better. These lines look perfect. I mean, there's no jinky in and out. I mean, I do have to adjust the quarter panel a little bit, probably back from here back or something, just to get it, get the gap a little wider on both sides. It's tight on both sides, but it's tight on both sides right at the tail. Other than that, it's pretty good. So that trunk deck was definitely worth replacing. I haven't even tried to adjust this one yet. Like, that corner's a little low up there. I think that one's not horrible, but I've just got to do a little tweaking on this and weld in the brackets, and we'll be in good shape. So I'll take you through some of that as I do it. I want to put the springs back in as soon as I get everything welded up. But this trunk was definitely looking much better than this one. This one, just like I said, it has a little bit of a, it's hard to catch with the camera, but there is a bump right here. It sticks out and it cuts back in really hard. And down here does not look right. So it looks really like it needs to be built out just a hair from here to here. But it probably wouldn't have been that big a deal. But anyway, they stepped right up, saw the video, sent me a new one, and it is way better. This is definitely a show quality trunk. I can understand why they would deem this one that. So anyway, I'm gonna continue on with this, check my checklist, and keep going. Okay, got these brackets welded in. This one up here is not finished yet. I gotta hit those plug welds once I roll it up. But you weld around the bottom flange, get that all seamed up. I welded a stitch weld between the two parts here, the upper part and the lower part. On the back side, there's a stitch weld. And I still gotta plug weld that. Then, up underneath, there's here in this flange, there's a little tip that comes out. Get back over here. Let's spread this out a little bit. Jeez. Okay, there we go. There we go, guys. So there's a flange on the hinge that comes out under here that you got to weld down through the gutter and all the other braces. I still have to hit that. And then there is a vertical flange in here. See if I can get on that. Right here. Right here. So we got to plug weld through that as well. And then once I ground it all up and cleaned it, this is what it looks like here. And then just sealed it with some epoxy. So yeah, that's the gist of it. I just rolled the car down a little bit once everything was, welded up enough so nothing was ever going to move. I rolled the car down just a hair, just so I could get to it, work on it easier. Now I'm going to roll it over to that side, finish those plug welds, get the flange weld up inside, and then grind that down. And then these trunk hinges are done. So that's the long and the short of it. All right, so the trunk hinges are all welded in, permanent. Everything's finalized there. It all looks pretty good. Probably still use some minor tweaking once we get the seals and everything in, but it all looks good. So what I gotta do now is adjust these rear edges. They're a little tight. So what I have is this. This is, what's it called? Big Kid Blocks. Anyway, it's a little gauge, so you can determine your proper gap, and you just run it down through here and scribe the other side. Use it to scribe the proper width. Now this is 3/16, which is the proper gap. But I've got to look this over and see if I'm going to go, it looks like it wants to be just a hair smaller than that. So I'll go through and mark this where I have to slit it and weld it back up. I might just mark it. You can see what it's doing there as you drag that along. It's kind of giving you an idea of how far back you got to go with a nice little scribe line. So I'll go through and scribe this, see what I got to do. And then that should tell me how far back I have to slit this. And we'll go from there. All right, you can see I scribed that line. It goes up, it goes up to about here. So I think I'm gonna start back about here. Just slowly bring it back. The majority of it's from here back, where it gets very tight up here, which is too tight. So I'll bring it back and just see if I can adjust the rest of that with the body hammer. Just bring that down. The other one is a little worse. It goes up further. So this one goes up into about here. But I think I'm gonna try to work some of that with the body hammer. Just see what I can get first. Give me an idea how far back I gotta slit that. But you know, again, it's the tight spots back here. It's over, well, it's about 1/8 or 100th thou back here. So I'll work that up in and see what I get. Like I said, I think I can smarten up that edge a little bit. I just don't want to destroy it. It's a good edge. So I got to think about this. I wish I had a slightly thinner cutoff wheel I could run down through there, but all I have is a 1/16, and that may have to be it. So I will give this a shot. I'll start on the other side where it's a little smaller, and we'll go from there. See what happens. All right, that's what it looks like after the split and tack. Yep, burn through. Gotta fix that. But I got it. It's very good. It's a little under 3/16, but it is very consistent all the way down now. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'll just finish stitching that up, grind it, buff it, and it'll be ready. Then I've got to patch the little slit I had to do down here to get the heights right, and I'll just either make a small patch out of steel or I'll lay some rod in there, one or the other. But once I get this cleaned up, I'll move on to that, then I'll hit the other side. Okay, there it is, done. So I slit up through here, as you saw, welded that up, ground it down, filled down in here. I'll have to smear this with some filler before I'm done, but yeah, that looks good. Now I'm gonna move over and do the other side. Let's see, hold on. We'll see what it looks like here with the trunk closed. And that's what it looks like with the trunk closed. Nice even gap, pretty happy with that. That'll work nicely. Well, the passenger side I had to go up considerably higher. I slit all the way up into here. How about here? You can see there's a little bump where you first transition from no slit to a slit. I haven't quite figured out how to get rid of that yet, but I can work it down with a hammer and then use a little bit of filler to square that away if I need to, but everything else came out pretty good. Down in the corner slit worked out. So yeah, now I'm just gonna seal those up. And I think the next thing I want to do is just throw the springs in this, see if I can do it without taking a finger off. Then I think I've just about wrapped up this trunk. And there it is. Trunk is in. Gaps are consistent. Springs are in. This one just looks funny because it's way up. Yeah, looking pretty good. So we will, got the springs in. Word to the wise, it's way easier when you're doing that on a convertible and there's no top on it, because you can just get right through the opening in the back, and it worked out slick. I've got them on the second notch. It stays up. So I think that's pretty good. Leave them there for now. I guess tomorrow, I'm gonna start pulling all the interior bracing out. That's gonna be weird. Get all that out of there and probably start working on the seat back, the pump brackets for the convertible top, the seat back, and then the dash. So this is this phase is quickly coming to an end. I'm gonna have PTSD after this. I'm feeling like it's looking really good. I'm very, very happy with what I've done so far. So I'm gonna get to some of the internal stuff, start working on things like getting that third pedal in, getting all the pedals in, working out the location of some stuff in the interior. But once that bracing's out, I don't need it anymore. This thing is back to an integral state. So once all that bracing's out and I get the dash and that stuff in, I'll probably take the frame jig off and put the car directly on the rotisserie, because it will be ready to do that at that point. I want to put all the door latches in, trunk latch first, just so I don't have to keep bungee cording that stuff when I flip it, because I'll forget. Get a door all stove up. But yeah, looking good. Very happy with what we got so far. So we will go from there. See you guys tomorrow. Oh yeah, one more thing. You want to know how many clamps it takes to do one of these? That's most of them. There's probably another dozen or so kicking around the shop here in various states of hidden and clutter. I keep all the big ones here in top, but it's a ton. I've wiped out Harbor Freight 3 times. Every time I go, I just keep buying all the finger clamps. These are especially good here. Use a lot of this style, and this one too is quite important. The ones with the rigid fingers rather than the pads. These are okay. Don't use nearly as many of those. And then just good old vice grips. The duckbill ones, use those here and there, but not as useful as the others. So yeah, if you're gonna do one of these, stock up.